aside from material goods, which I personally don't care that much about, but what really matters to me is all the lessons you learn, the time we spent. I lost a lot of time with my dad, and I've always told my boys, I said, why do you think I was always there for you? Because unfortunately, I lost that.
Before we get into it today, if you want to get 2 weeks of Service MVP free, sign up for the 99 MVP Club. You're going to get your first 2 weeks free, completely on us, where you're going to get access to all of our online content, our audiobook for free, as well as a ton of other videos that's going to help out your business like nobody's business. So click the link in the description and get your 2 weeks for free now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Service MVP podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Ralphs, and today we have another excellent guest for you here today. Another guest coming from our Total Immersion course that we're doing right now. We have Eric from Wiseway Plumbing. Eric, welcome. Could you just give us a little bit about who you are and just give an intro to the audience?
Sure. My name is Eric. I work at Wiseway Plumbing. I've been a plumber for 25 years now. We've had Wiseway up and running for over 20 years. We've been very proud to serve the communities over here in South Torrance area and all of South Bay, going up to Los Angeles and all the way down to Orange County. It's been a wonderful adventure. Done a lot of work for a lot of great customers. And of course, sometimes you get the ones that aren't so great, but we've always managed to make them happy.
For sure. That's awesome. Just keep a baseline of whether or not the customer is a good person. You just keep them happy. So yesterday we had your son, Chris, in here, and we had an absolutely amazing conversation about marketing. So that was we'll release that a week before this episode. So everyone will just have listened to that. But we had a great conversation on marketing and what you guys are doing around Wiseway. What I want to start with first is, how did you get into plumbing? Where does your journey start with all of this?
Ooh, my journey starts, when I was very young. I worked for my neighbor across the street who was a contractor, and he didn't like going under houses, so I ended up going under all the houses to do all the plumbing work.
Yeah.
I never count that in any of my plumbing experience because I really didn't know exactly what I was doing. Then in about 99, 2000, I went into start working as a plumber, having a computer background and owning business. I owned a few businesses before then. They were all successful and I sold them. And then once I got married, I, went into work for companies that did computer work, which I excelled at. And then I decided that this wasn't really what I wanted to do. Gotcha. I wanted to do something more with my hands. I like working with people. I like giving them the best options that they can have. As long as they have options, they can choose what's in their budget to do it. And I always tell my customers that, hey, this is how I would do things. This is how I would want it done. Because if you call me back here, I don't want you calling me back here for the same issue. I want you calling me back for something different. Yeah. Hey, Eric did such a great job on this. I want him to do this part of our, home now. Yeah. And it's been a passion of mine.
That's awesome.
I still get in the truck. I still go out. I don't know if I'll ever stop. I'm sure one day, Mother Nature will see to that. But as for right now, I'm 55. I still crawl under houses, and it hurts a hell of a lot more now. But I'm good with it.
That's awesome. When did that philosophy for you start? When did that philosophy come in to where, I'm going to show up and I'm going to get this problem solved and this customer is never going to call me back for the same problem again? When did that philosophy start coming in for you?
Ooh, God, early in my plumbing days, I'm a very much of a people person. So it just it came to me sort of naturally. I always liked doing things for people. And if I could make their life just that much better or relieve one problem or one stress from them, it just made me feel good. Yeah. And that's what our whole philosophy is based around. Hey, we want you to be safe. I got my journeyman's plumber license. Oh my God. I think back in 2004. And one of the things that was instilled in me is, hey, a plumber is there to protect the health and safety of our nation. And I really took that to heart. And I was like, God, I just want to make sure everybody's, good. their plumbing is done properly, it's done correctly, and then I would start always improving myself. Like I'd want to see my work done nicer, neater, cleaner. I always have a philosophy, and I tell my employees this, and I hold myself to it too. I tell them, hey, when you're done, you want to take a photo of that work that you did, and you want to be able to show your girlfriend, show your mom, and be proud of it. If it looks horrible, then you need something to do, and that's go back and redo it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not proud of the work you did and it's not done right, don't give it to a customer.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really seems like that philosophy is ingrained in your business and your work ethic and just about everywhere. So when your employees have that instilled in them, there's obviously that benchmark to hit. I want to know when let's say you're interviewing a technician, or you're just interviewing any employee that you could possibly have, what's something that you look for that kind of sparks that, okay, I feel like they could fit into this culture of the pure motives that my business is trying to strive for?
I work with Chris quite a lot, because Chris is much younger, and he's got I'm more of a hands-on person. I want to know what you can do. Because in the early days, I always thought it was common sense, because that's how my grandparents brought me up. It's how my parents brought me up.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. It was a very old school European philosophy. And I was like, I always did it. I didn't know any better. And so I brought my boys up to do the same thing. And both Chris and Dylan do that. And so when we go in and look for an interview, Chris really hires for culture, because I don't want to be working with somebody that I really doesn't share the same values.
Yeah.
And I need that. Then after he goes through that portion of it, then I'll come in and I'll start asking the technical questions, because I got to make sure you're doing a good job at that house.
Yeah.
Now,
sure.
I have no problem helping any of the guys out, or showing up on their jobs, or giving them that direction, and holding them accountable.
Yeah, that's great. What are you seeing in not just your technicians, but in the service industry as a whole right now? What are you seeing that is kind of lacking across the board, that you're trying to almost go against the grain, and you're trying to instill in your team and in your business to make sure that you are a cut above everyone else?
If you want my honest opinion on that.
I do, yes.
My honest opinion is I have seen more of a lack of knowledge out there about plumbing systems, following up after other people that have done work out there. And I just sort of scratch my head and go, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Also, you have a lot of people that are trying to, give it a go themselves, which I do encourage, because, hey, I always like that when people try to do things themselves. However, there are unfortunately items that are for sale out there that you can easily pick up at do-it-yourself stores that are not legal to be put in a plumbing system, or they're mismatching them.
Yeah.
So you have to have that ability to look at it and go, oh, that is not how it's done right, and here is why.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of training with our guys. We have every morning I talk to them once a week, if not more. We have some kind of meeting. Typically, we do a lot of training. We've done training with all the water heater manufacturers. I have them do online training, just to keep their skills up 100%, because I feel that the better they're trained, and then they always have me to come back to, we're really going to accomplish and make a big difference.
How much of that, when you come across a job like that, where maybe a homeowner was trying to do something themselves, or another company was hired and they did it too quickly and didn't get the job done to the standards that it should have been, how much of you and your mind goes to, oh man, this is, I'm going to have to fix all this stuff, and how much of your mind goes to, okay, this is a problem I have to fix, like this is what I'm here for?
It happens more often than not, more often than you'd think.
Yeah.
When I was a very young plumber, I used to joke around a lot. And I used to say, if it wasn't for the bad plumbers out there and the do-it-yourselfers and just the guys that think they can do stuff, or they're trying to make a quick buck and they run away, it wouldn't be for the good plumbers wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
I said, now we'll always have a job because of that.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that was a wrong thing to say or a messed up thing to say, but the bottom line is it's the truth, whether you like it or not. I mean, I've gone after too many plumbers, too many homeowners. The homeowners I can't blame, though. Homeowners, I understand. You tried. You gave it your best shot. You're trying to help your family out. I get it. I'll feel sympathetic.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, my God, you were so close to this, or I'll give them advice.
Yeah.
But because I see that they're legitimately trying and they might be in a financial bind. So I get that. But when you're acting or pretending to be a plumber and doing work and charging for somebody and then skipping out, that stuff just sends me through a roof. I don't sit still for that. I'm very passionate about it. And I've had some real good, heated, conversations regarding that.
For sure. What's one thing in your career that maybe it was a mistake that you made along the way, not necessarily negligence or bad work, but what's a mistake that you made along the way that you really took to heart and learned from and improved and based more of your business around?
Ooh, God, I call them lessons. I learn from everything I do. I don't,
it's all teachable moments.
It's all teachable moments. It's, if life gives you lemons, people say make lemonade. Yeah. If you're more entrepreneurial, you might make a lemon drop and start selling some, alcoholic beverages to make more money. It's what you do with it. Life is gonna throw you stuff. I've had customers that we've done work for, and our guys haven't followed the procedure, and I've realized that and went, oh my God, hey. If you're disconnecting a device, I want to make sure that there's absolutely no chance of a leak. Don't just shut that angle stop off. Take the extra second, go out to your truck, grab a supply line, and loop that line. I don't want to drop. As a matter of fact, I go so far when I'm done with my jobs personally, I put a paper towel down there. I put a blue paper towel down under the area I worked. And I tell my customers, I've been doing this 25 years. Everybody can make a mistake. Leaks can happen. People can bump things. I don't know what it is. Keep an eye on this for the next couple of days. Take a look at it. If you see any water, please give me a call. If you don't see any, well, then we know I did my job right. Yeah. And I never get a call back, but it gives them peace of mind. They can look under there. They can see as soon as a drop of water hits, it turns darker blue, and they go, oh, wow, hey, I have a leak. But 90% of the time, or actually probably closer to 99% of the time, I never get a call back, but it's something I do. It gives the customer peace of mind. And I have a policy myself and my guys do as well. I check my area that I worked in 3 times. When I'm finished with my work, I go ahead and I look at it and I test it. Then I pack my tools up and I put them in my truck. I come back, I look at it again, nothing. After I'm done, I'll bring the customer over. I'll show them the work I've done. Now I've had 3 times to look at it, and sometimes I'll even come back a 4th time. Yeah. Because I believe that there's an old saying that goes somewhere like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of something else. I honestly don't remember it, but I mean, if I was much younger, my grandfather would have beat me over the head with it, So it's just those real life values that I think a lot of people are, they don't get it. If I can make you feel safer in your home, wouldn't you appreciate that? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
there's a certain level of that also comes from, okay, I'm going to go back for a 4th time because I do care, because this is my passion, because I want to make sure that the customer is getting the best product possible. I want to make sure that their home is safe for them. So there's a lot of that comes in. So for the people who are on your team, I want to know, Donald told me, one of our sales guys, Donald told me a great thing yesterday, which was most people don't rise to their level of education. They fall to the lowest level of training that they have. So I want to know, how do you make sure with your team that the lowest level of training for them is going back a 3rd time to check the system, making sure that the customer is happy? How do you make sure that those standards are enforced for your employees?
We have standard operational procedures. We will call back. After I've done this for 20 years, a lot of the customers that they're going to, they've actually been my customer. So my guys know, hey, you don't know, I'm not going to go out and tell you who I've been to, but you will know when all of a sudden that customer looks and goes, oh, Eric was here and Eric doesn't do it that way.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now you're going to have to call me and you're going to need to explain.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be explaining to me why you did something incorrectly.
Yeah.
And so they understand it, and I try to inspire it with them. You know, hey, be the best you can be. You're not competing against me. You're not competing against one of your coworkers.
Yeah.
You're competing against yourself the day before. If you're a better person than you were yesterday, then you've done something. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing a lot, and we've been having discussions this week about how the training landscape has changed, not just in the services industry, but across the board with different generations on how training is evolving for new generations coming into the trades. We were talking about how 30 or 40 years ago, it tended across the board to be more of almost like a punishment system where do the right thing or you're going to be getting a slap on the hand or, you know, you're going to be out the door. You know, it's those things and the sort of economy landscape of jobs now has turned into, like what you just said, is inspiration. What can I do to inspire these people? What has your experience been since you started from that beginning state, and how has it changed to now?
Oh, it's been transformational, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Growing up, being a plumber and coming in a day being, you know, an apprentice and your boss just throws all the dirty tools in the back of the truck and says, here, your day's not done. You need to clean all those tools up. You need to lubricate them and you need to put them all back, then go, you know, stock the van. Yeah, it's a lot different. I mean, when I used to train for a large company that I worked for, I remember I had one of my trainees complain to the boss that I was making him carry the machine. And I simply looked at the boss and said, wow, I go, what happens when he's done with training? Who's going to carry the machine for him? Yeah. He's going to need to. I've been carrying that machine for, 4 years. I know how much it weighs. I know how to hold that thing. That's what they're going to be going to. You're going to have to do it sooner or later. Yeah. You might as well do it now. Don't act like you're giving me a favor. Exactly. You're not. You're actually, if you boil it down, I move faster without you. So I'm giving you this knowledge. You should be thankful. Yeah. That somebody, with my expertise is handing you that knowledge. But I've noticed that times have changed quite a bit. You now have to inspire people, which was difficult for me at first to understand and grasp, because when you grow up with a good whop to the head when you don't do things right, it's totally different.
It's a shift.
It's a big shift. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got my butt kicked and yelled at and told I was, I'm stupid, I'm slow. It would, I was like, oh my God, am I ever going to get through this? But in a way, you learn to do things because you didn't want that stigma. You didn't want to be the village idiot. That hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you quickly got out of that as fast as you could. Yeah. Nowadays, you mention something like that, and people just have that thin skin, and they just go, oh, wow. I mean, I would say that, plumbing has always been a really thick-skinned industry, especially when you run up against some of the old-timers older than me. Oh, they'll tear your head off. Yeah. The first plumbing company I worked for, I'm still really good friends with the owner today. And I had to walk up to him and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. He was hard on me. Yeah. And I guess I'm really fortunate because he taught me the ethics and the morality of plumbing, which I found to be, I didn't understand it at the time because I was young. And his whole theory was, Eric, if you're going to cable out, take care of a kitchen sink stoppage, you don't cable it until it starts draining. They paid you to cable the whole line, so put the whole snake in, get it cleared, and then bring it back again and do it again because you don't want to recall. Yeah. And I was just like, yes, sir. And I did it. And then, as life progressed and I had been doing it longer, everybody goes, oh, just pop and go. And I go, that's not right. That's not how I was taught. That's not how I'm going to do it. Plus, I didn't want to get a recall.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this older man just really taught me some good golden nuggets. And to this day, I still keep in contact with him. I still call him. I thank him.
That's amazing.
Actually, he's hired me to do work for him.
That's cool.
And, it's funny.
I love
that. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I know he's awfully proud of me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's good. And
Yeah.
I've had some great opportunities. I've trained hundreds of guys. There's probably 10 other companies out there that have started from guys that I've trained, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because I not only gave what I would think of as plumbing knowledge, like somebody goes, oh, that's not a big deal. But when you really look at it, no. He has a family now, and he feeds his family off of the knowledge I gave him and what he did with it. So it wasn't all me; it was a lot him.
Yeah.
But it provides for him, and that's like great. And I take it as a personal responsibility. Somebody goes, "Oh, you're a business owner," and I go, "Yeah, I am. I do get that. But what's most important to me, more than anything, is seeing the happiness in my employees' eyes.
Yeah.
I take such a huge responsibility because I want to make sure they're getting everything they need, that they're they're making their money, that they can go after their dreams.
Yeah.
I never had anybody looking out for me like that, and I always wanted to set something up that it worked out well for everybody. I want them to be trained. I want them to have that knowledge. Chris and I were discussing it the other day. We want to have goal boards for the guys, have them set it up.
I like that.
1 year goal, 3 year goal, 5 year goal. What is it? How can we help you to achieve those dreams?
Yeah.
And the guys were really receptive of it. They're like, wow, I'm like, yeah, well, that's all, that's what we're about. You have an issue. I can't tell you how many times my guys have come to me and been like, hey, Eric, we're getting kicked out of this apartment we're in. They want to take it back so they can do something. It was a house actually, and he's like, I'm a little bit short. Is there any way I can work a little extra? What can I do?
Yeah.
And I'd always work with them. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my guys typically, my guy was with me. He's been with me like 10 years now, and most people come, then they stay. We build a great culture. We have a lot of fun. We joke around. Nobody gets. Everybody knows me, so they know when I'm being serious, and they know when I'm joking.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. And if there is any, and I've always told them, I said, hey, I'm an open door. You can say whatever you want to me, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If you want to come up and insult me, give it a shot. Trust me, I've heard a lot worse from anybody else.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I will never say anything to insult you or demean you or belittle you. Now, if I give you some crap, it's out of love. It's not out of, I'm doing this to, make you feel less than.
For sure. Have you seen that culture that you're providing, that support, all of the things that you're doing for your team? Are you seeing that sort of down the line transferring into happier customers, more service getting done, more referrals, because your team is equipped with this knowledge that, hey, leadership is behind me? Are you seeing those kind of coming down the road?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see the change in the team. I see the happiness in the team. My whole goal is I want you to come to work Monday, and I want you to think of, oh, I'm with my family on the weekend, but damn, I can't wait to get to the shop on Monday.
Yep.
I can't wait to go out and help people out. That's what I want, and that's what we always strive to get going, because we want that to pass through to our customers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And yesterday when I was talking with Chris, we were talking a lot about sort of the transformation that Wiseway is going through right now, and all of the upgrades that you guys are doing, and being able to really expand the business and what your business means to you guys internally. And we're talking about the brand and marketing and all that stuff. What over the past 5 years has been the biggest transformation for Wiseway? What's been the biggest impact over the last 5 years for you?
The biggest impact that has really propelled me quite a bit. I was really blessed by God to have my boys join my business. I mean, sorry, it gets me choked up to think about it, but a lot of parents, you do the best. You do the best you can. And you hope to God that, when you have to open your hands up and release them into life, that, hey, I didn't create a monster. I created somebody that's loving, kind, that, is respectable and respects others and respects people and respects life.
Yeah.
And you really don't know if they're going to, hey, I want to be a plumber. I mean, who wants to go and do, sometimes that can be a pretty nasty job. And I was really fortunate to have both my boys very interested in it. I've made both of them come out and work with me. And a funny story. This is a great story. My son was in college, and they have a course that says, where you can work. You get like four credits for working for a company.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And this was over Christmas.
Yep.
So I said, well, Chris, you can come and work for me, and you get college credits. Well, the instructor says, oh, no, we don't like it when a student works for his parents because he's just going to sign off on it.
Yep. Just going to be a free pass.
And I said, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, clearly your instructor, your professor there has the wrong idea on who I am, and that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
So we were doing some remediation under a home, and over Christmas break, Chris was under the home with Category 3 sewage water, and was all suited up properly in PPE. Yeah. And I took a photo of him doing it, and we were out there for a good 5-6 days.
Yeah,
job was beautifully clean. Main line was repaired. Everything was done real well. Customer was extremely ecstatic, and I took photos of it along the way, you know, of him under the house and, mumbling through this respirator.
Earning the grade.
Earning it, Hey, there's no free pass. And I won't do that to my kids, because I know if I'm cheating them in life, I'm doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm doing them a greater disservice. I don't like lying to my kids, because life isn't always easy.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. You're going to have hard decisions to make. And I've always told them, I said, hey, what decision would you make if I'm not around? Are you going to be able to make that decision? I hope I taught you well enough. I hope you think it out.
Yeah. That's huge. What is, outside of that, what do you think is the biggest similarity? What's the biggest thing that you kind of take back and forth as far as what works really well for your business and also what works really well for your family? What are some lessons you've learned that are kind of transferable to both?
Ooh, be on time.
That's a good one. Don't be late.
Yeah. I'm always the one that is way early to everything. Even coming to this class, I think I'm in here at 7:00 every morning, and everybody goes, my son asked me, well, why do you get there so early? I go, well, son, anytime you go to LA, you better be on that freeway early, or else you're going to be stuck in traffic. I said, me personally, I'd rather be at a customer's home early and cleaning out my van or doing something like that, or just sitting in there listening to an audiobook.
Yeah.
As it relates to my family, we've grown, and it is very difficult, especially when you have, 3 boys in the family that are all into this, and you got my wife, and I feel sometimes really bad for her, because there's a lot of testosterone in there, and you got to get everybody's opinion. And it's sometimes tough to look at, one of them and say, yeah, I'm not going to do that opinion, because they all maybe are, I don't know if they're seeking that approval or not. And
gotcha. Yeah.
I tell them, I said, I just think I do what I feel is best. I go from my gut. I don't know. I'll research into it. I'll make sure, but you just can't bring me, a tuna sandwich and say, hey, Eric, it's peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Just eat it. You'll try it. It's good. I'll be like, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
So,
do you feel like that is something that has kind of followed you throughout your life, is going with your gut and trusting that your instinct is going to take you through and to carry you to the next level?
Yes, it definitely is. You have to be, I tend to listen for all the small stuff and watch how people say. I watch their body languages. I listen to their voice, their tonality. Sometimes what they don't say, or if they shy away from something. I try to listen to and be in tune with all that. Like I can listen to somebody where my wife, we compliment each other a lot. Like if she walked in this room, she could tell me everything about you, facial features, hair, eye color, the whole bit. And she'll ask me, what was he wearing? I don't know. I didn't care about what he wear.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the differences. So we've really complimented each other well over the years. I'm sure at times I've probably made my poor wife feel undervalued. But she never is. I don't ever feel that way. I always feel like she's my rock.
That's amazing.
And everything, I don't know what the best way to put it is, but I've always been all about my family. Everything is, to me, I think the family is the biggest unit it's where all the love is held. That's that's where you're grounded as a man.
Yeah.
And I tell them, listen, everything I do for you guys. Everything will be left to you guys. You know, and, you know, aside from material goods, you know, which I personally don't care that much about, but what really matters to me is all the lessons you learn, the time we spent. You know, I lost a lot of time with my dad, and I've always told my boys, I said, why do you think I was always there for you? Because unfortunately, I lost that.
Yeah.
Not that he died. It's just he wasn't that type of a father figure.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he was always, you know, very busy. He was a computer guy. He's a brilliant man. Loved him to death. But, you know, I spent like about a year working side by side with him. But that wasn't until I was like 40, about 39, 40 years old.
Wow.
And that time changed me. I never felt more connected. And I mean, even before then, I said, you know, I told my boys, I said, hey, I'm gonna be there for you. I'm gonna coach your soccer. I'm gonna coach your baseball. I'm gonna be involved.
Yeah.
At one point, they told me I could not coach my old Chris's baseball team because they felt I was too competitive. And I said, well, isn't this a competitive sport? Do you want me to lie to the kids, or would you like me to tell them, hey, this is what life is about?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be rude. I'm always going to try to push them up in a positive way, but they would not let me do it. So the best I could do is be the assistant coach on the team.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was great.
But you still found a way to get in there and participate. It wasn't, okay, the first sign of anything, I'm not going to be, okay, I'll step away.
Oh,
it's
no. I've
still finding a way to get in there. That's
my
amazing.
wife calls it me being pushy. You know, she's like, oh, you just want to get your way in there. I said, well, I'm not a control freak, but I do like to have my fair say in it.
Yeah.
Like even when Chris went to college, I attended every counseling meeting. And even when the counselor would tell me, oh, sir, you don't have the right to be in here because, you know, this is Sherpa or HIPAA, I don't know, whatever rule they have. I looked at the lady on Zoom. I said, wow, gee, that's really funny because when it comes time to make the tuition payment, I don't see you calling him up. I don't see you asking his permission for me to pay you. I said, but we're going to go over this.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it works, it works. I said, and even when she came up, she goes, well, what happens if your son would like to take a different path? I said, well, I've already discussed it, and this is the path he'd like to take. I said, if he wants to take the path, then that's great.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to take the path, that's great too. He better present it to me in a real good way, or else he can pay for his own college.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to pay for mine.
Of course, yeah. And truthfully, in life, I'm sure a lot of people would agree, I'd prefer someone who is a little bit too pushy than a little bit too distant.
Right.
You know, so even if we are calling it pushy, I call it just being there to care.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather take that side of the spectrum than the opposite end where, hey, I wish he was around more. You know, so I definitely see the real value and the real care in there because the alternative is much worse,
right?
You know,
you're going to be apathetic. You're not going to care. You're going to be involved in your business, and I see that all the time where I just look and go, "Wow."
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to, you know, come out straight and say it and say, "Oh, wow, your parents don't care what you do, really? Do they even know that you're doing any of this stuff?"
Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of kids just, I don't want to say flush their lives down the toilet because they're young and there's always a chance of, pulling, pulling their head out of their ass. Sorry, don't mean
you're
to
good.
swearing on your
You're
podcast,
good.
but hope maybe you need to edit that out.
No, it's all good.
But it's the old part of me coming out where I just get really real with people. And I expect somebody to be real with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would rather have you say, hey, Eric, I don't like you. And I'll be fine with it. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'll still be your friend. I'll still be there for you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends, they'll tell me straight out, I don't need to invite you over, Eric. You know where my house is. Just show up. The door's always open. Mm-hmm. And I go, okay, well, my door's always open too. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
But I would rather have that honesty, that harsh, brutal honesty. Mm-hmm. And, even when in Joe's class, when I've been doing this for 25 years and he mentioned something to me and it definitely kicked me in the gut. And I was like, wow, I can take this a number of ways. I can take this as an insult and be like, wow, I'm doing just fine. I can justify.
Yeah.
Or I can really look deep inside myself and go, oh, man, Jesus, he's right. Yeah. And as much as I hated to hear it, I needed to hear it. And that's what I love about Joe. He'll just straight tell you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not.
And what he always says, my ego is not my amigo.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to take that into account without letting your ego get in the way and get in the way of that learning step for you.
Right.
So,
and it was a huge learning step. And I was like, oh my God, I've done this. I've let my guys do this. I go, I don't like it. I'm really glad I got called out on it. Now it's been brought to my attention. So now I'm going to address it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what was the great part about it. But a lot of people don't look at it that way.
Yeah. A lot of people don't take it down that path.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, as we're closing it out, one question that I really like to ask all techs and all owners and everyone who's in the trades, and especially if they've had such a great career like you've had, what is, over the course of your career, a standout kind of customer horror story? What's the craziest customer story? Because everyone's got them. Everyone has a new one every week. I want to know what stands out to you over the course of your career as one of the crazier moments.
Oh, there have been a lot of crazy, scary moments in all the years. I don't know if I could pull out one that is just like, wow. Making me think pretty good.
Have you had any customers that have just flown off the rails, not know what they're talking about, anything like that? That usually sparks something with people.
Okay, I did have a crazy moment. It wasn't. It was in my plumbing career. I was tasked to go out to a call. And the customer was very upset with the company I worked for. We had originally sent a technician out there who broke their snake off in their lavatory sink and attempted to hide it. And then it was found out. Then they sent another tech out there who couldn't get it out. Then they sent another one that Swiss cheesed the side of her wall on the outside. And then finally one that got out there to put a clean out in it. But didn't clear the line. I was like, holy cow, you took the snake out and just put a clean out in, but you didn't put a snake down it to clear the lady's original problem. So when I get the call, there's, you have to go out there. She's extremely upset and, she's this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going, oh boy, I'm really going into
what you're getting into.
I'm going into the storm. I'm going to the eye of the storm, especially after I've heard so many people had dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So when I went out there, I went ahead and I did the work, and I just was myself, and I provided really good customer service. I got it cleared. I profusely apologized for all of the heartache she had gone through. Because I didn't find it fair that she had to go through that. You know, there could have been ways of preventing a lot of that. She was really nice, and they said, oh, she's very cheap. And I thought to myself, I'm like, Does it really matter? At this point, it's not about anything like that. It's about you made a mistake. Own your mistake.
Exactly.
So make a crazy story short. She asked me to ask her if there was anything else I could help her with. And she goes, yes, Eric, we have a drain in the driveway that's not working really well. Could you please try to clear that? So I tried. It had a ton of roots in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, ma'am, we're really going to need to, dig a portion of this line up. It was an area drain. It would flood her pool in her backyard.
Wow.
Make a long story short, I went out there to take care of this, very angry customer. When everything was said and done, we had done a considerably large amount of work. And on top of that, the best thing that happened, it was Valentine's Day, and my laborer and I, Jose, were out there. And she opens the door and she goes, hey, guys, I know it's Valentine's Day, and I know you guys have been working really hard. Mm-hmm. Here, I made you guys both bags to take to your wives or your girlfriends. And I turned around and I said, oh, my God, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So it was, and she was so nice.
Yeah.
I could not imagine. I'm thinking to myself, I hear people saying it all the time. Oh, this person's this or that person's that. You know what? I guess I'll just be the judge for myself when I get out there. Because
take the opportunity.
Most people, when I show up, and if you're there willing to help, they are the nicest people in the world.
Yep.
I had a lady the other day give me cookies. She's like,
That's
Eric,
great.
if you can show up tomorrow, I'll give you cookies. I said, well, you don't have to do that, ma'am, but I am going to show up anyhow.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she's got water and cookies for me there.
That's
and I'm
amazing.
going, Jesus, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
It was great. I know this is going a little off topic.
No, you're good. Go for
it.
But
when I was a tech and I did a lot of commercial buildings and restaurants, I used to love that stuff up in doing in Los Angeles, because I knew I provided such great service. I would get fed for free from the owners. Yeah. And I remember one time I was starving.
Yeah.
I mean, your stomach's grinding. You're feeling like, oh, I'm going to pass out. And I get this job at a place. I don't even know if they're around. I think it was called California Roll or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, a sandwich shop. Hell yeah. This is going to be great.
Yep.
I get there and it's a sushi place. And I get a little allergic reaction to that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this is horrible.
The one day, yeah.
So I do all the work for the gentleman. I'm just like about to fall over. I'm just thinking at this point, man, how am I going to drive home? This sucks.
Yeah.
The owner comes over and he goes, oh, anything you'd like, it's on me. And I look at him, I said, really appreciate it, sir, but I'm allergic. He goes, you like teriyaki? And I said, yes, I do. I love it, actually. Yeah. He grabs an apron, puts it on, made me teriyaki, made me a huge bowl. I had enough the next day. Wow. And I was like, it was the best teriyaki.
That's
so yeah,
amazing.
I've had a lot of great adventures. I mean, yeah. I look back at my overall career and I have to smile. I just have to smile because
love that.
I see great people out there that I've done work for, celebrities, and they just, I've had so many celebrities write on their things, hey, to the greatest plumber in Los Angeles, and sign it. I've had, band people sign like drumsticks. Ernie Banks from Chicago Cubs.
Yep.
He signed a bat for me.
Wow.
And then he signed the bat for me. And I looked at Ernie and I said, Ernie, I really appreciate you signing the bat. I'm glad you didn't put to anybody on it. Because then he asked me, he goes, who should I put it to? I said, my son's into baseball. Could you write down to Chris? Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, I'd love to.
That's
so we
cool.
have this baseball bat that's, it was just all the little small stuff that, I have, hanging around my office and stuff. And I just crack a grin and smile and go, it's a good life.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Lastly, I want to say callwiseway.com. That is your website.
Yes.
Where do you service and what do you guys do? Give us a brief overview for people who might be in the area.
We're located in Torrance. We do any type of plumbing that you have. We do residential, we do commercial, we do industrial. We go all the way out to Orange County, Huntington Beach, all the way up to all of the beach cities. We handle all those areas.
Amazing. Callwiseway.com. Be sure, if you are in one of those areas, be sure to give them a call. Eric, thank you again so much. And
My pleasure.
I'm sure
It was
everyone
wonderful.
enjoyed this episode. And everyone, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.